So guys, we're back after like 5 minutes of stopping the other recordings. So let's see how my voice can take it. Or yeah, my vocal cords, I don't know. What are they called? Meat sticks. No. Seems there's something for me to do this morning. I guess they won't need me at the police department. Not that I mind. Seems I got some messages. Let's see. Hey, are you coming to see the show? It's gonna happen pretty soon, you know? I trained so much for this. You wouldn't believe. Probably harder than I ever trained in my entire life. What do you say you're gonna train for a couple days and it's only like one? Whatever. I hope you can make it because I want to show you all I've got. Hey, it's me. Do you want to meet up again? I know you're busy, but the summer festival's coming up soon. I think we should go, but we certainly could if you want to. In any case, call me back when you hear this. Your 2 messages waiting. You had 2 messages waiting for you. Huh. Well, I guess it's what we pick between Norm and Adine. I guess because these seem like I don't know big dates, but we'll get Adine. You'll go Norm if we can. If we can only do Adine, then next we'll do Norm, and then next we'll go someone else. I don't know. I plan on getting everyone in the game before I finish the series. I just now realized how that couch looked, and it's I don't know. It looks like paper. Anyway, Adine. That must be her. Did I call her over? Hey, Horizon. Hey, Dine. Are you ready to go? Sure am. I can't wait to see everything the festival has to offer. Oh, sorry I came all that way. Sorry if I came all across that way, but I don't think we'll actually be able to have much time to take part in the festivities. Oh, really? Yeah, I just spend most of my time at the competition grounds. We'll arrive there early so I can check in and do my warm-up. I'll still have to stick around after my performance to wait for the award ceremony. Well, I guess you don't have to wait with me. We could see the rest of the festival if you want. You could see the rest of the festival if you wanted to. That's out of the question. I already spent time with you. The festival's not important. So yeah, I guess this is only you choose one, which is kind of cruel. They like, because you can be with 2, but then you have to pick one at the end, which is kind of mean. But besides, we can always see everything on one of the other festival days. True. We could even watch the big fireworks show at the end. Okay, if it's multiple festival days, then I guess they do actually give you time to go to everyone. Or, not everyone, but... Yeah, I heard about that. Everyone keeps telling me how important it is for me to see. It's not that important, but if you have the opportunity, you really should go. I'm not sure if I'll be able to attend, but I'll gladly accompany you if I had the chance. Sure. So, the Days of Jedi is emotional support, and next time, we can take in all aspects of the festival. Sound good? Perfect. Alright, let's go then. It's gonna give you the blueprints, even though I have them, but whatever. It took a while for us to arrive at the festival, which had already begun by this point. The last of the booths that lined the way were still being set up, but dragons of all shapes and sizes were already pouring in. Instead of walking directly through the festival, we stayed outside and outside the established paths heading towards the stage where the competition was going to be held. You know, despite being still the only human, that's nice. I'm surprised, you know, not everyone's crowding, even though they're like, yo, everyone's gonna crowd you, and then every time I go out in public, I'm like, not met by anyone, but, you know, whatever. Eventually, we arrived at a rather large open-air area near the facility that had been roped off. At one corner of the building, a few flyers had already gathered. Maybe you should wait here while I give a number. Why? People might get the wrong idea if you show up at the registration line. Besides, they only stare and start asking all kinds of questions. Alright, I just see you then. Alright, I'll be back. After Dine had waddled off to the other flyers, I surveyed my surroundings idly. Beyond the big open air area, seating had been provided, and I could already see a few people waiting for the competition to start. A few had even gathered on the roof of the building to watch from there. I'm back. Is that your number? She held up a piece of cloth with a large number printed on it. A few straps were hanging from it. What, this? Oh, no, of course not. This is Angel's number. Of course, sorry for the mistake. I'm one of the last to start, actually. Oh, really? No, I guess the others just arrived earlier to have more time to get ready. Oh, what do you think about the other competitors? I've seen them flying before. Some are really good. Some are really, really good. Doesn't seem like there are any newcomers here. So, right now, I'm the odd one out. Maybe you could use that to your advantage. I said. Well, you know more about them than they do about you. Having a promising newcomer there might throw them off their game. I'm not sure about that. After all, it's not as if any of our already choreographed performances would change based on what the others do now. Each of us just tries to do the best. Most of them are seasoned flyers, so they already know how to deal with that kind of pressure. If anything, I'm the one who might get nervous and mess up. I do have one advantage though. I'm still pretty young, and this is a sport with a great amount of wear and tear. There comes a certain point in time when you just can't perform as well anymore as you used to. Many complicated maneuvers can only be performed by younger athletes. The older ones can make up for it using their experience and with better execution of easier moves. In the end, a daring newcomer like me could surprise the audience and the judges with something new and unexpected, which is exactly what I plan to do. How good do you think your chances are? With a bit of luck, I might even be able to win. This is just a local competition after all. But you know what? Just being here right now and performing in front of so many people is a win for me. People will know me, and I'll probably get a mention somewhere in a local paper. I trained for years, and my application to compete finally got accepted. Now I just have to make the most of it, and I'll be happy. I can hardly believe that I'm here. This is the moment I've worked so hard for. And I'll be watching you. Oh, stop it. You're making me nervous. Sorry. Can you help me with this? She spread out her wing, and only then I noticed her shoulder joint was tightly bandaged. What's that for? It's just a training bandage to stabilize my shoulder after that little blunder you witnessed last time. We can't fly with these in the competition though, so I'll have to take it off. Alright. I opened the bandage, carefully unwrapping her wing. There you go. Thanks. She spread both her wings, feeding them a few times. I couldn't help but notice that the previously bandaged wing was sagging noticeably compared to its counterpart, as if it were misaligned. She seemed to be examining her shoulder, somewhat lost in thought, while I spoke up. Are you sure you want to do this? Yes, of course. Why wouldn't I? Like, are you sure her shoulder isn't dislocated? I guess that hurt more. I don't know. I can see that you're straining without the bandage. I'm fine, really. Don't worry about it. If you're fine without the bandage, how come you were wearing it up to just now? Do you need it for practice too? If you're going to practice without it, maybe you weren't ready to compete without it yet. So when you suddenly flying us, but I'm the one who has to be doing. I'm the one who's doing this for years now, not you. It's my dream we're talking about. Do you want them to see you in this condition and judge you based on that rather than when you're at your best? I just have to try, you know. What if something goes wrong, though? You don't want to be in that position. If I stop making excuses now, maybe I'll never stop. I'll always be too nervous, or too injured, or didn't eat right the day before. I feel bad enough as it is. Right now, I have the chance to do this, and if I don't take it, maybe I never will. I'll always be just a server and delivery girl making minimum wage. Is this one chance really too much to ask for? No, but it doesn't have to be right now. There'll always be another year. They've never seen you compete before. If you fly now, they'll judge you based on this performance. You only have one chance at making a first impression, and you know it won't be your best if you fly right now. If it's not good enough, maybe they won't invite you again next year. If you fly now, they won't accept any excuses. But if you tell them you're injured, they might let you fly another time. I don't want to wait another year. Well, I want to do it now. I trained so much, even with this injury, and you tell me I should just let it go. I can't help thinking about last time. If you crash like that again, there's no sand to you to cushion your fall. It could be much worse. You don't think I know that? That I'm not already worrying about this more than I ever have for anything else. I just don't want to make excuses anymore. Why am I cutting off as like this? I don't know. I don't want to if I'll ever amount to anything more than a waitress. I want to be able to follow my dream, and I don't want to wait another year to find out. Well, what about Emily? If something happened to you, how do you think they would explain to her that you just suddenly stopped showing up, huh? Don't you dare bring it into this. She has nothing to do with this. Yeah, I don't. Why am I being so cruel? I've tried my hardest to be as nice as possible, and then all of a sudden it's just like, no, you need to be mean. Like it or not, what you are doing could have consequences. And there are others besides you who will be affected if something goes wrong. You know what? I'll fly the best stunt job I've ever done, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. Before I could reply, she angrily stomped off towards the building, where by now a number of contestants have arrived. While I had failed to convince her, at least I could say that I had tried my hardest to stop her. I don't know why, because, like, bruh. I asked myself whether I even wanted to watch the competition at that point. It was possible that she'd do even better than expected, but if my experience was any indication, her performance would not turn out well. In the end, I decided to stay and watch from the sidelines. I didn't want to join the rest of the audience, as I was sure it would get me unwanted attention. As the competition started, I lost myself in thought, thinking over the conversation I had with Adine while watching the other contestants half-heartedly. I had been right. Some of them really were very good, but based on what I had seen at her practice session, she did have a shot at winning, even if everything went well for her. Even though my rational mind doubted that would happen, for her own sake I hoped it would. One by one, the contestants showed off their skills in a variety of moves, usually followed by the applause of the audience. Eventually, it was time for Adine's turn. Next on the stage is number 11, a promising newcomer who will show her skills to the public here for the first time in her debut performance. Please welcome Angel. There was an excited bout of clapping. The audience was always curious to see a newcomer on the stage. However, after a few seconds passed, Adine still had emerged. An awkward silence set in the audience applause. Oh my god. An awkward silence set in as the audience applause stopped and everyone sat anxiously waiting for her to show up. She never did. After half a minute or so passed, the announcer's voice once again echoed across the area. My apologies. It looks like number 11 will not be flying today. Next up is number 12, a certain veteran you may know for a somewhat unusual technique. Before I could even ask myself what happened, I saw Adine walking out of the building and coming towards me. Adine, what'd you do? Let's just go somewhere else. Alright. Dang, dude, you put all these doubts into her. Such a good friend. Walked away from the festival and sat down under a tree in the outskirts of the town. As the competition was already nearly over, the darkness had already set in. He should be good. So what made you reconsider? You were right with everything you said. When I was inside, I had a bit of time to cool off. I realized I didn't want to do it like this, even if I had to wait another year. How do you feel now? I know it was the right thing to do. I can't help thinking that I came just so close that I could have done it if it hadn't been for that stupid accident. You haven't a chance, I promise. Don't make promises you can't keep. That's true. Because if I fail to stop a literal meteor, you're dead. Anyway. Hey, Horizon, look at the sky. You see that light? One that looks a bit brighter than the others? I looked up at the main celestial bodies lighting up the sky. One of them was noticeably brighter than the other stars. That's called a comet, and it's going to destroy all life on your planet. But not all of it, because then there wouldn't be monkeys, so yeah. I should practice in the evening and stay until it's dark, so I see the stars pretty often. I noticed something about that one. It moves. How does it move? It looks pretty stationary to me. You won't notice just by looking at it. But over the past couple of weeks, I have noticed that it changed positions when compared to other stars. It can't be a star, then. Stars don't move. They do. They move around their, galactic core. Like, you have a solar system that has a star in the middle that contains a solar system, and the solar system revolves around a galaxy. They move. I guess not that you would see. I have an office in one of the cities that watches these kind of things. I called them about a while ago. What'd they say? It's just an asteroid passing by. It's even been on the news a few times. Well, that makes it sound pretty important. Yeah, it's a big one apparently. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to see it without a telescope. Do you think it's dangerous? Why would it be? I don't know. It could hit the moon or something like that. They showed me that's not going to happen. They say calculating the paths of celestial bodies is a very complicated science, and not really an exact one. They know it's not going to hit the moon, but they're watching it to make sure it passes safely. It won't. Not that just watching it would make a difference. They don't really know anything more. Apparently they're also really underfunded. The council doesn't see the need to waste people's time and money to look into the sky all day That's strange, don't you think?
It used to be a pretty important job, but over time, the funding got less and less until only this token office in our biggest city was left.
I see.
It's such a shame, since the whole institution was based on our creation story.
In what way?
One of the stories our creator told us to watch the skies.
How religious are you, really?
What exactly do you mean?
Well, dragons have these myths about humans. Oh, how many of them do you actually believe are true?
Oh, I believe all of it. I just love reading all the stories, theories, and all that.
Yeah, why's that?
Well, I think there's a lot we can learn from it. Much of our society is based on it, including our laws and traditions.
I see. I'll ask you a question.
Sure, go ahead.
What do you think if I told you that I am a time traveler from the future?
Hey, don't joke about something like that.
And why not?
Because I believe you. Besides, if you were really a time traveler, I think you'd come from the past, like the time we were created.
Really? Why is that?
Because it's the only time in our history where we know of humans ever being here. If you came from the future, that would mean humans were to show up at some point in our future history. And I'm not sure how or why that would happen.
Wouldn't that mean I was your creator?
Well, not necessarily. There could have been other humans around, right?
You must only mention one, though.
Yeah, but people speculate, trying to find explanations from those old myths. Maybe there were more humans around and they just died. Or their creation rebelled and killed them. Others say they fled across the ocean. We just don't know.
What do you think?
I don't know. I like reading about all the theories and trying to piece the puzzles together myself. That's why I wanted to visit the underground building we found. Some of the theories are quite out there.
Like what?
For example, one says that humans are really aliens who came from a different planet. They created us for some reason, and there's vanished again.
Yo, we have those. What'd they do that for?
Maybe just experiment in their testing us. Some say they're always watching us from up there, and they're sometimes with a giant mothership, and that maybe one day they return when we're ready to join them.
That is pretty out there, I'll say.
Told you so. What about the humanity you come from, though? Why don't you tell me more about your world?
I don't like talking about that. It's much prettier here.
I don't believe you.
It's the truth.
I'll believe it when I see it with my own eyes. I'd love to visit your world.
I don't think it would be a good idea to visit us right now.
Why not?
Do you know what our world is like? No, she doesn't. Are there any rumors about that?
Not really. There hasn't been much speculation about that yet. Of course, we're curious, though. Next time we want to send one of our ambassadors into your world to make it even and all that.
I'm not sure that's a good idea.
Don't be so negative.
I'm sorry. It's not up to me to determine the best course of action. I'm just a lonely ambassador after all.
Not quite as lonely as a waitress, and with nothing more than high aspirations.
Yeah, you could say that. I don't want to go into much detail, but our world ain't doing so hot, Chief. That's it.
Maybe it's time to wait for me to go home.
I'd walk you, but I guess you'd thought it'd be faster if you flew.
Nah, I'd rather not. Without the bandage.
Are you serious? And you were going to do your performance like that?
I know. I should have tried. But you don't have to bring that up again.
I'm sorry. For what it's worth, I think you made the right decision in the end.
Thank you.
Shall we go then?
Sure.
Yeah, we are.
Do you want to come in for a bit? It would be a shame for you to come out all this way from nothing.
Sure. She opened the door, wiping her feet on the doormat before she went inside.
Can I offer you something to drink, maybe?
No thanks, I'm good.
How about some TV?
That could be interesting. I haven't watched TV in ages, and I don't have one in the apartment.
You're right. You got a pretty decent apartment, but they didn't provide you with TV. I wonder why.
Maybe they want to avoid culture shock or something like that.
You get a shelf full of books, though. Why would books be fine but not a TV?
I suppose they give me books. I suppose when they give me books, they know what I'm going to read, but on TV, they can't really regulate the content I'm going to see. At least if TV works the same way as ours used to.
That's true. Maybe they just thought your time would be better spent elsewhere.
I guess. If they didn't want me to watch TV, they certainly have told me.
Actually, there's a series on right now. That'd be pretty interesting. That could be pretty interesting for you, too.
What is it?
I'm not gonna tell you. Do you want to put it on or not?
Sure, let's do it. Diane turned on the TV, and a brief flicker appeared on the screen before it was filled with the images of a house from the outside. Oh, that doesn't look unusual.
Just wait a bit.
The camera cut to inside the home while the chattering of small talk could be heard. Then some figures entered the living room on the screen. They were grotesque, malformed creatures with rather cartoony proportions, covered in odd dumps all over the body. They all shared the same odd skin tone. It was clear to me that these figures were played by actors in obviously fake, bulky costumes that reminded me of mascots. What are those?
Humans.
Humans?
That's the name of the series. It's a typical sitcom about a contemporary family as you would expect, but the twist is that everyone is human.
And then I realized why I hadn't been able to identify the creatures on the screen as humans. They were all naked. Oh yeah. So the dragon's conception of clothing was different. They had applied their own principles when creating the series. It's quite bizarre to see a typical family sitcom where all the characters were in obviously fake costumes and also happened to be naked. Do you like it?
It's one of my favorites. But it's a sitcom. It manages to address serious and deep issues fairly often, which I don't think would be as effective if we weren't watching them through the lens of this alternate reality. This one isn't a bad episode, but it's already nearly over.
I guess there's no point in watching the ending.
True.
By this point, the credits were already rolling, and Adine turned off the TV again.
What do you think?
I should say that if a human looking like that suddenly showed up in our world, people would probably run away screaming.
They don't look that bad.
Sure, it's impressive if we could consider what they had to work with, but there's a few things they did wrong.
Like what?
For one, humans mostly wear clothing, and secondly, we don't have tails.
Those are just small details. The series is still good though.
Is it popular?
Well, sure. Many people love it.
I see. Well, they weren't too scared of me when they see how different I am, though.
I didn't run away screaming when I first met you, did I?
True.
Now that you're already here, there's something you could help me with.
What is it?
Well, it'd be a huge favor to ask, and it's kind of embarrassing.
Just say it. The worst I can do is say no.
I'll show you this. It's about my shoulder. I get pretty dirty from practice sometimes, especially from the bad landings. And recently, the detachable shower head broke. That usually wouldn't be much of a problem, but with this injury, I can't quite reach a few places on my own. It's not ideal to have to manage everything with my wings, but now it's even harder.
I want to scrub it back?
I guess you could play that way. Told you it was embarrassing.
Well, obviously, I'm not going to do that. Don't worry about it. I'll be glad to help.
Thanks. This way.
I followed her, entering a rather large bathroom, to your standards. The shower is huge. I wouldn't mind having one of these.
This isn't just your regular size. Regular dragon-sized shower. It's made specifically for a flyer like me. We need enough room to stretch our wings.
Just think of the possibilities. She took off her goggles and stepped into the roomy walk-in shower. After pressing a button on the wall, water started flowing from the shower head mounted on the wall. Did you use wall twice? A button on the wall, shower from the shower head on the wall. Okay, yeah. I don't know. I get really pet peeved when it's like they use a word and then like they use the same word to describe something even though it's in the same location. I don't know. It's just my like English essay writing brain saying like you have to use a like synonym for using the same thing. Like you can't go, it was on the wall, and then you grab the thing that was on the wall. It's like, no, it was on the wall, and you grab the apparatus that was on the big stone wall. Fuck. Whatever. She moved around a bit, stretching this and that. Stretching this and that in... Oh my god. Stretching this and that way in order to cover her whole body in water. Soon afterwards, she pressed a button on the wall again, and the water flow stopped. She turned to show me her back, wings played.
The soap and sponge should be right there.
I took a sponge that wasn't like the others, and I knew from back home, and added some soap from a rather large bowl. It seemed to me that each species had their own challenges that need to be overcome when it came to daily tasks like this one, emphasized by all the different design choices when it came to everyday items.
You can start with the wings and work your way down from there.
Sure thing. I couldn't help making a joke to ease the tension a bit when I put the sponge on your muzzle. It looks like you got some there. Oh wait, that's just your stripes.
Hey, stop that.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Good job. Now I've got soap on my nose.
I started scrubbing her wings now that... Okay, so context for that. I did see her wiki a bit because I was trying to get images from there originally, and I, happened to come across a dating path. And in her description, it said something about like she tried to scrub the green spots off her because people made fun of them. I don't think I ever did that in one of her dialogues, so I guess it just kind of assumed that you got that. The game kind of does this a lot, which is kind of weird, but yeah. I started scrubbing her wings. Now that I could see them up close and fully extended, I found them to be quite impressive.
You know, I actually tried to do that once before.
Should never said anything. What do you mean?
Washing off those stripes.
Why?
Well, I was just a child back then. You know how kids are. They make fun of everything. Well, I didn't know if the human children are the same way.
They are, trust me. They're pretty bad. They're really bad.
Don't burst too hard there. That's the injured shoulder.
I'll be careful. Eventually I reached her lower back. And while I was washing a particular spot on her left side, I could see her neck twitching slightly. Are you ticklish there?
I guess you noticed.
What happens if I do this? I repeated my administrations, moving the sponge in circles over that particular spot.
Hey, stop that.
She started squirming, and suddenly her tail whacked around me in the face, causing me to stumble over and fall backwards.
Are you okay?
I guess I deserve that.
Well, you tickle a dragon, and you get the
tail, apparently. The forked tip of the tail was still hovering inches in front of my face. Its peculiar shape reminded me of something, but I couldn't help but grab onto it and hold it like a telephone. Hello, hello?
What are you doing?
I think your phone isn't working.
Stop being silly.
Alright, I'm nearly done anyway. I resumed my scrubbing. By now, her tail was only left. Not being entirely sure about my technique, I moved the sponge over the tail's whole length in small circles. When I was nearly done, I noticed a low rumble emanating from her, reminding me of what an oversized cat's purr might sound like. Are you purring? Suddenly her expression changed as she looked over her shoulder.
Oh, are you done? You should take a step back if you don't want to get hit by the water.
After I left the shower again, she pressed a button on the wall, and the water resumed once more. She stood under it briefly and moved around a bit until the water had completely washed off the suds. When she turned off the water again, I realized that it didn't cling to her much at all. After she shook herself a bit, she stepped out again, nearly dry.
Thanks, I really need that.
You're welcome.
It's probably getting late for you, and I already held you up for this long.
Don't worry about it. Oh, it's already dark outside. It was dark when you got here. It was dark when you left the competition. Bruv. Listen, I may be dumb, but I'm not an idiot. But this man is stupider than me.
Bruh. I guess that took longer than I thought.
I'm not surprised to go outside this... Oh my god. Okay, never mind. I take it back. I'm not supposed to go outside this late.
You're right. We were advised by the police to stay inside after nightfall because of everything that's going on.
For me, this is even more important. We don't know if there's anyone out there who might want to target me.
I suppose you just have to spend the night here then.
I guess so. Well, I guess that's a dine. Another day, free day. Yay me. Oh, yeah. I guess you can only meet one. So sad. Now I bet Dorm's gonna be abandoned. Yeah. Now I feel bad. Oh. I'm gonna have to. I'm guessing how it's gonna go down like every time, unless you only date one person, is that someone always dies. I think you can still see your ally. Oh yeah, you can. That's kind of neat. And someone gets abandoned. And everyone stays neutral. Uh, well, Ripperoni, Norm, my brony.